Welcome back to the 30 days of dragon paths here in September. Today we will be covering Dragon Magick with a K 101. And yes, I define Dragon Magick with a K and without a K differently. So if you missed Dragon Magick without a K 101, don't forget to click that link in the cards for you to watch that beginner's guide. But just a quick disclaimer here, the way that I define Dragon Magick and understand it in my practice is completely different than anyone else I've ever really talked to. So if you define it differently, that's totally valid and understandable. And if you have a different definition of Dragon Magick, let me know in the comment section below so we can all expand our definitions of Dragon Magick together. There's going to be all the resources for you free in Patreon, Discord, Facebook, Amino, all of it. All right, all links are down below, and there will be a master guide for you in the Hatchling Clan Discord server. And without further ado, we got 5 parts. We got part 1, the guide. We got part 2, the notes. We got part 3, the basics. Part 4, the fates, how it works for everybody in any belief system, and part 5, my tips and tricks. So let's begin with Dragon Magick part 1 for this guide. Now, Dragon Magick is often like a ritual, this is a ritualistic, often highly ceremonial in nature type of practice with a focus on draconic elements a practitioner resonates with elemental dragon rulers or dragon guardians or keepers of magic, also known as co-magician dragons. And all that basically means is that Dragon Magick, relatively speaking, is going to basically be a ritualistic type of practice as I personally understand it with my dragon guardians. We have one's practice is usually guided or rather overseen by a dragon guardian or a dragon spirit clan, which is just like a group of dragon guardian spirits. This ensures the craft is genuine. So this makes sure that it anchors the practitioner within guidance of the dragons rather than just kind of wandering and making it up as you go along, right? So next we have, it isn't uncommon for the types of dragon witches who only see dragons as symbols of the forces of nature and spiritual transformation. So this is probably the most common I've actually encountered, dragon witches practicing Dragon Magick with a K. They are most commonly atheists, at least the ones that I've met, right? I don't know the ones you've met, but the ones that I've met who specifically only practice Dragon Magick, they're atheist and they work with it symbolically, and I think that's really unique. But moving along, we have most practitioners are solo and follow their dragons on a case-by-case basis. Therefore, each practitioner of Dragon Magick will vary accordingly. And just like you have, unique relationships with your dragons, they're going to uniquely guide you along the path of Dragon Magick. So next we have beliefs, which typically those who practice Dragon Magick believe in the dragons being the elemental forces embodied, that dragons are real and or resonates with the symbolism as significant, or resonates with their mythology as significant, right? So that is kind of just a huge general consensus about what the belief systems are, but generally speaking that is kind of how it goes. Next we have practice. Typically those who practice Dragon Magick defined by draconic elements and dragons representing them within ritual and or faith, usually defined by structured rituals and spells, but it varies. So it really just depends, some dragon witches who practice Dragon Magick don't even work with elements, right? So that's how just my personal understanding of Dragon Magick is unique, right? I know many who practice it who just don't resonate with dragon elements and they actually find it goofy. So it's just to each their own, truly, but more or less it's kind of regularly based around rituals and usually dragon elements. Next we have the purpose, typically to manifest one's own desired will into reality with the help of dragons, but can be for healing, learning, spiritual discipline, and just answering a calling. So again, the purpose of why we practice Dragon Magick is again as unique as the dragons that we work with. So how do you start, right? So define your relationships to dragons and magical ritual, then study before you begin experimenting. And that is really a very basic description of just how you really get to start, because sometimes the biggest roadblock in our path with Dragon Magick is because we don't exactly know how to define our connection to our dragons, and that's why it's the best place to start there if you ask me personally. But next we are moving on to part 2. So here are the Dragon Magick notes. I might leave my location because I am getting eaten alive by mosquitoes. So I think we are going to move because I don't want to get more bites. I have so many bites, you guys, you don't even know. So we're gonna just do a walk and talk, I guess. How fun is that? So now we have the Dragon Magick notes. All right, my darlings, this is kind of a chaotic episode, I guess. Welcome to my garden, my friends. But next we have part 2. Okay, so we have Dragon Magick notes. What makes my system of Dragon Magick different from other systems and like their definitions, right? So first we have my practice of Dragon Magick differs from the standard understanding and the way I approach my craft with a focus on working with dragons of various and obscure types, right? So working with a combination of various dragon types, they help me build unique types of rituals using like their elements and what they teach me, right? So that is kind of how, oh my gosh, do you guys see this? Hold on. This is a crazy episode today, guys. Do you see this sunset right now? Hello? Hello? Oh my gosh. Well, leave a like for that sunset. That's crazy. Hold on, I need a thumbnail. This is a chaotic episode. I love you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Okay, I'm sorry. That's probably not gonna be the thumbnail. But anyway, let me jump back into the actual point of this video. Okay, so basically it's about the relationships in the sense of like, I have to define them first. And when I do work with my like Dragon Magick, right? When I do work with this Dragon Magick with them, it's all about the types of dragons that I work with. It's very important to me, right, to connect with as many different kinds of dragon types that I can. It's a huge part of my practice in Dragon Magick. Next, we have the emphasis of formal and often complex ritual is part that makes it Dragon Magick. So at least in my understanding, right, like the emphasis on high ceremonial ritual with many steps as provided by the dragons is genuinely just how I view Dragon Magick and understand it in my personal practice, though it's not like that for everybody, of course. And then we have, unlike majority of practitioners, my system of Dragon Magick focuses on the 13+0 draconic elements that my dragons taught me over the decades, unlike with the most popular system of only having 9 draconic elements. So my system consists of earth, water, fire, air, and spirit. Then we have light and darkness. We have energy, wood, metal, love, chaos, maelstrom, and magic. That would be my personal system of draconic elements, where the most typical system of draconic elements is going to be earth, water, fire, air, spirit, light, darkness, maelstrom, and chaos. And that might not resonate with you, right? So it just really depends on what you feel most called to. And then next we have, within my practice, I work with elemental dragon rulers, like in Yu-Gi-Oh, that I worked with Tiamat and my dragons to create with me for my magic. So yes, if you have not seen Yu-Gi-Oh before, go check out Yu-Gi-Oh Dragon Rulers. They're my favorite things ever. And based off of being inspired by them, I ended up creating like a pantheon of like dragons when I was a kid. And it's based off of these elements, right? The way that my dragons kind of showed me the elements and the way that they work and interact with each other. And so I have these like egregores that I've worked with my dragons over time to create, and then reinforce them with Tiamat once I met her to work in my practice. And that's just my own personal practice of Dragon Magick, but again, everybody's going to be unique and different. And then let's see, we have, unlike most who practice Dragon Magick, my craft has a critical focus on making servitors. And that is something that truly sets my Dragon Magick apart from most people that I know. I really focus on working with my dragons, like my guardian dragons and the dragon deities, specifically Tiamat, to create servitors for my practice. And that is pretty much that part. Lastly, we have the Dragon Magick spells are structured around the 7-pointed star and 1 dragon at each point of the star. When dragons are ready at the star points, then we spin to forge all the energies. That is just like the very, very basic formula of how my Dragon Magick works. Never have met anyone else who does it that way. And when I tell people about it, they're like, whoa, that's so cool. So this is just my personal understanding of Dragon Magick. and what makes my system and understanding of it unique as I founded it. And then moving on, we have part 3, which is going to be the Dragon Magick basics, my darlings. We have how to get started with the fundamentals of Dragon Magick and how to begin practicing today, despite the loud, awful road down there. Boo! Boo. Okay. Anyway, number 1, unlike other dragon paths, as I understand them, Dragon Magick doesn't begin with meeting a dragon, but rather assessing how you resonate with draconic elements, ritual, and spirit work. Okay. Very important. And then, do you wish to practice a certain way, or is there no preference, right? So it's really important to take the time to contemplate, right? It's important to take the time to contemplate and ask yourself, is this going to be a good practice for me? Am I doing it right? How do I feel about it? Where do things feel like they fit for me, right? It's really important to reflect and think about, all right? Do not miss that step. All right, next we have step 2. Once you understand how best everything is to the way your brain prefers to categorize everything, then now is the time to establish a connection with a dragon of any kind within any way. So all that means is like there's no right or wrong way to connect with the dragon guardian. I will cautiously don't have a sexual relationship with your dragons, right? But again, people are going to do that anyway. People do that anyway, and that is not my jurisdiction, okay? But all I'm saying is that no one can really define that relationship for you. Yes, we can, encourage you, maybe don't do certain things because it has bad consequences, but ultimately that is your decision, okay? There's no right or wrong way to connect with them or meet with them. It is about you and your experience, okay? And how they guide you. Number 3, when you have bonded to your dragons, before the next step, it is best to see if they have guidelines. So I know that this might be kind of, obvious maybe, but before you really deep dive into practicing high dragon magic rituals, make sure that you're being guided by your dragons first, and see if before you even begin, if they have a list of guidelines they want you to follow or steps to follow, because sometimes they do, okay? And sometimes they're really helpful. Next we have 4. For the most part, the dragons will provide you with guidance for how to perform your dragon magic. So don't be afraid to try out anything they suggest. That means if they suggest you try something, it's okay to try it, right? You don't have to make it some big elaborate thing in your head. It's casual, okay? I know certain things in dragon magic are formal, but I'm just saying these parts of the steps are casual in the sense that don't put too much pressure on yourself, okay? Next we have step 5. By now you should be experimenting within ritual, and you may have already encountered a keeper of magic or a co-magician dragon to aid in your craft or to teach you a new one. So once you start, really, getting that vibe with your dragon guardians that you have, and you start trying their rituals and you get experimenting going on, that is when it's really common to start encountering dragon keepers or keepers of magic. And I'm more than happy to make a video just about co-magician dragons if you're interested. So let me know in the comments below if you'd like me to talk about keepers of magic or gatekeepers of magic or co-magician dragons, however you want to call them, right? Next we have step 6, which is the more you practice your craft, the more chances for keepers to encounter you create to grow along the path. And in Dragon Magic, working with gatekeepers of magic is an extremely important process because they help teach us different types of crafts. They also help aid our practice in the sense of they'll give us magic to our, they'll charge our spells with their own magic, right? For example, one of my dragon guardians breathes they're like a puff of smoke out of their nose onto my spells is their way of charging it, just as an example, right? Just giving an anecdote. And then lastly we have number 7. Repeat what feels right, discard the rest, and to progress. Okay, that's my favorite slogan about Dragon Magic is I'm gonna say it again. All right, repeat what feels right, discard the rest to progress. Okay, because you don't need to keep performing rituals that don't resonate with you. That is kind of weird, okay? You have free will, and I think that maybe you would prefer to explore practicing the rituals that feel right, that really fill up your cup. You know, the ones that were profound to you, that really made you feel like, something's there, bestie. Those are the ones to repeat, okay? And then that's it for part 3. Next, we are moving into part 4, which is going to be Dragon Magick with a K for all types of belief systems, okay? So doesn't matter what you believe in, it doesn't matter any type of faith you have. Dragon Magick can work for you too. Let's talk about it. So the following are examples of Dragon Magick and how it might look like across belief systems, okay? So literally anyone from any faith might look like this. So if you're an atheist, Dragon Magick might look like this to you. For those who do not believe in a higher power, then Dragon Magick looks like working with the dragons as symbols, with their lore and with their themes, within a often high magic ritual structure, but not always, as the dragons become representations for anything and everything for atheists. And that's pretty straightforward, right? Like, you can literally just draw a dragon and then use that image of a dragon to infer what is the symbolism here. Like, what is the hidden meaning here that's like not hidden, but it's literally in plain sight, right? These are the things that we focus on and how Dragon Magick might look like to you if you are atheist. But next we have polytheist. So Dragon Magick might look like this for you. So for those who believe in more than one divine creative source, then Dragon Magick may look like a highly complex spiritual practice that often consists of multiple dragons, but doesn't always include worship within the Dragon Magick rituals, but it certainly can. And like I said, any polytheists that you ask, there's so many polytheists that actually do not worship anything, right? They just believe that there's multiple creative forces, but that worship is a very personal thing, right? Very personal. They don't necessarily call on these gods, but they believe that they're real, right? That is kind of what Dragon Magick might look like for you if you're polytheistic. But next, if you're monotheist, Dragon Magick might look like this. For those who believe in one divine creative source, then Dragon Magick might look like opening a circle to dance with dragons for God's glory and spinning with them to remember life and how we are all interconnected as one creation. And this is a personal practice of mine, and how I know many Christian witches practice too. They love dancing with dragons too. And it's all about cultivating the way that we feel within our body when we dance with dragons, because that is ultimately the key here to bringing about that magic, that magical shift, right? The movement is the magic with the dragons. So next, if you are an omnist, for those who believe in all religions that of the world holding truth, the Dragon Magick path looks like opening circles for them all at one point throughout your lifetime. So it basically just looks like connecting with all of the dragons you can find or feel called to, and seeing where it leads you throughout your lifetime. And it doesn't really have to be something that's all at once, right? It's something that's usually gradual, and they take their time with intimately focusing on one deity at a time or one dragon at a time. At least that was true in my experience before I decided to be monotheistic. And then we have animist. Next we have, for those who believe in all creation having consciousness and a spirit, then Dragon Magick may look like casting spells and rituals with even the dragons and your tools and altar, for our imagination is the only limitation. And that is something that I really have to emphasize for you beautiful souls, is that for those animists who I've met practicing Dragon Magick, they literally are practicing with their the dragons of their atoms and their body. Okay, get on their level, guys. Honestly, it's kind of amazing. But that's it for part 4. Now we're gonna go into the last part 5, and these are gonna be my Dragon Magick tips, okay? And all that means is These are my best tips, tricks, and reminders for Dragon Magick, how to stay on the path and how to get back on it. So first we have, it is highly advised to have experience in witchcraft and magical ritual before jumping into Dragon Magick. And that is simply because if you do not have that experience, you're really going to throw yourself for a loop if you don't have like any sort of experience. You might learn the hard way, right? And we're not trying to do that to you. We're trying to ease you into it, because a lot of people can get really hurt when they just jump full into the deep end, right? So that's kind of what I'm trying to gently avoid, because it can really cause people to go into spiritual psychosis, unfortunately. But next we have, the hatchlings have reported the best results for Dragon Magick come from direct instruction, guidance, and visions rather than winging it. All that means is when the hatchlings have expressed getting direct guidance from their dragons for their spells, their rituals, and anything, that is when they have the most success and when they have the most like profound experiences, right? So next we have, when creating dragon rulers for your elemental magic holders, I highly advise to only make servitors and egregores with the help from at least one other dragon, if not Tiamat herself, to help preserve your mental health and sanity levels. Please do not take this tip lightly. People who work with servitors and egregores and they make them willy-nilly without any sort of grounding, without any discipline, really just they throw their mental health in the trash can. I've seen it too many times. That is why I advise to work with a dragon when making them. You don't have to. It's your decision, okay? You can do whatever you want. I'm not gonna get you in trouble. But please, just be aware, okay? Just be cautious. It can be really bad. Next we have, if any of the draconic elemental systems don't feel like they deeply resonate, then I highly encourage each dragon witch to make one with their dragons. And all that means is, like, you know how I mentioned my draconic element system is like 13, right? Like, not everybody's like that, right? Like, I didn't resonate with the 9 elements. It didn't make sense to me. So I had to work with my dragons to, you know, make my own, right? Like, I felt like there was always more elements growing up, right? There was always more. So there's that. And the elements that I have had, like, understood, like, have, like, evolved over time, right? Like, the element of thunder evolved into the element of sound, evolved into the element of maelstrom, if that makes sense. Just as an example of how your practice can evolve with how you understand the draconic elements over time. And then next we have, the fastest way to fall off the Dragon Magick path is to force your rituals to be perfect. No life is messy, by the way, and the dragons meet us in that mess for the most part. All I'm trying to say is that, like, don't force yourself to have a perfect ritual to where you procrastinate and then you don't even perform anything. That is not how you gain practice. And then next we have, just because a dragon shows you a spell or a new type of ritual doesn't mean you have to perform it, okay? This is something that I think people really don't understand as well. Just because a dragon presents you with some new form of magic, new form of ritual, new form of rite, ceremony, etc., you don't have to perform it, you don't have to craft it, you don't have to create it. It's just there for you, okay? Do not think of it as an obligation, because it's not, all right? And lastly, we have, whatever you do, try introducing dancing with dragons into your practice and begin spinning with them if you can. So I know this sounds strange, but I'm gonna do it right now because it is that important. Let me tell you the power of spinning, especially when it comes to dragons. We are on the spiral path, my friend. I don't know who's trying to call it the left and right hand path. No, bestie, we are on the spiral path. A spiral path, okay? That means there is no beginning, there is no ending, and there is no one way to define this practice that we have, my loves. So please don't be afraid to spin and tap into that centripetal force to connect to this world, to purify your energy, to tune in with how all things are connected, okay? And that's all I have for you in today's video. Today was kind of chaotic, running all around my backyard, but I do hope you enjoyed it. I'm kind of trying to avoid the rain. It's been really messy. I have about 1 million mosquito bites. Fuck you, Maketos. But anyway, I'm just gonna say thank you for spending some of your day with me today, and don't forget to check out all of the resources in Patreon, Discord, Amino, Facebook, Tumblr, all of it, to get your free resources about my Dragon Magick 101. 101 beginner guide with a K. All right, and if you're new here, assalamu alaikum, merry meet, and welcome back to your daily dose of DragonFaether. My name is Azura DragonFaether, the Draconic Priestess, and I have been working with dragons since the 90s, here to share my experience with you. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you want to learn more about the magic of dragons. And of course, I will be seeing you very shortly in the Hatchling Clan to hang out and talk about the drama of the dragons. But anyway, until next time, stay geeky, cheeky, and freaky! Little hatchlings. Gaddafi's blessed be an Amin. And please follow me so I don't get lost.
We'll see you back next time for your DDLDF, and like, comment, subscribe for your DDLDF. And if you didn't get enough, make sure to check down below to see what I'm up to and be in the know. So stay geeky and cheeky and freaky, little hatchlings. Stay geeky